Welcome to this channel, everybody, on narcissism and the narcissistic personality disorder. Remy and myself are just both in from a winter swim, so we're a little bit disheveled, but we haven't been on for a while, so we wanted to get this podcast out to you for the weekend. I had a request from a dear client who I have coached in the past, and she said, I've searched your library of podcasts or videos, whatever you'd like to call them, Paula, and I really can't find anything on the aging narcissist. So I said, you got it. We're going to explore the aging process in relation to a narcissist, the effects it would have on a narcissist as opposed to a normal person, and what they do to counteract the aging process. Really in understanding the different species of human being that narcissists are, in my opinion, we learn more about ourselves and we learn more about what's important in life, what's important to try and protect, and to not go down that avenue ourselves in our own healthy narcissism, to avoid it and to perpetuate what it is to be a human being as opposed to trying to destroy other human beings. So with that said, let's get into it. The aging process, as we all know, is challenging, to say the least, at different times. It's challenging physically, it's challenging mentally, it's challenging in energy, it's challenging in a lot of ways. But a lot of us who are lucky enough to have to deal with the aging process, who are lucky enough to have lived a certain and longer life, have a lot of gratitude for it, and we kind of mull along, we do what we can to improve it, we try and look after our health, etc., without labouring the point. We're grateful for the days, we're grateful for the extra time we have, and I don't know about you guys, but absolutely, I would find that I'm loving this stage of life more so than any other stage in life. So that's how a relatively normal person, looks at the aging process. Sure, normal people may even go and get plastic surgery. Sure, normal people may, strive to look younger. That's fine. That's absolutely fine, in my opinion. We navigate the different parts of our lives and we introspect and we have gratitude, as I said before. With a narcissist, this is a huge threat to a narcissist's ability to control other people, particularly if they have been of the somatic type nature narcissist, where they have really relied on their looks and on their physical abilities to draw in supply. And they're used to churning over supply, getting people easily. Usually I'm talking about intimate partners here, but oftentimes a good-looking narcissist is also able to be very charming in other areas of life as well. So if your whole value system is based on ego functions, how you look, what you have, etc., and you're used to conning people and defrauding them by using those external physical charms that you have when you're not older, I suppose, although a lot of older people are extremely charming and good looking. That's an aside. So the narcissist is greatly affected. Now I'm going to go through a list of effects that aging has on the narcissist, and other people will also say, just before we get into that, well, Paula, surely, the aging process, would it not mellow a narcissist out? Would they not improve and see that, what they're doing isn't working? And that's, in my opinion, again, a big no-no. It actually, in my opinion, makes them worse. In my opinion, it makes them more malign, malignant. It's like they started off as a young cancer and the malignancy spreads and grows. They just get better at what they do. They hone down on what they do and they become even crueler in the I suppose, the need in their mind for their survival, because their survival is based on getting one up on other people. So if they have to try harder, they can be a lot crueler to get their needs met as they see it by taking from other people, because it's not as easy as it was when they were younger. So the effects of aging on the narcissist. One, as we've mentioned, they have less power and control. And to a narcissist, because they're takers rather than self-manufacturers of their happiness and all the other things in life, because they're takers, if they have used their physique, their charm, their good looks, and a lot of other things, including future faking, which we'll get into, they have a loss of power and control that actually threatens their life. Now, that threatens their life. That's how serious they take the aging process. The second effect on a narcissist is, and this is partly the first one as well, narcissists feel omnipotent, and that actually is, in fact, they feel godlike. They feel they know everything. They feel they are experts on everything. And let me know in the comments if you've experienced this with a narcissist. The all-knowing, don't question my decisions, I know everything, you know nothing, and black and white thinking. So if their power and control is threatened, in that they can't get people to follow them, to accept their word as God, to look up to them as being the most popular, the most beautiful, the most good looking, their sense of godlike, stunning beauty, stunning presence, power and ability is threatened. And again, that threatens them at the core, because remember, narcissists created this false, fake persona that works in different situations, that's customized to different situations, to carry them through life, to carry the body through life and get what they need in life taken from other people using the fake mask, so that the minuscule, undeveloped, underdeveloped spirit that lives behind the fake persona doesn't have to grow, doesn't have to introspect, doesn't have to suffer in any way. The narcissism is set up to protect this being that is at this stage, when they're older, very dormant and lost. The third effect that aging would have on a narcissist is the loss of transitional supply. And this is perhaps the narcissist's parents or family, brother, sister, anyone that's of an older generation to the narcissist that may have died, that the narcissist would normally use as transitional supply. And there's a particular, I don't know what you'd say, thing that runs through particularly male narcissists, in that they will often go back to their mothers' houses, and their mothers can often be narcissists as well, in between partners. And I mean, this can happen for female narcissists as well. Again, leave down in the comments when the transitional supply of the narcissist actually has died, because the narcissist is now older and that generation has died out, or an older supply of the narcissist, perhaps an older partner or ex-wife or ex-husband that the narcissist used to return to vacate with, to have a vacation with, in between their next new partner. Once these people have gone, that's a big, huge, big upheaval for a narcissist. And you'll find that they will often, in those situations, actually return to an ex who has been parental-like in looking after the narcissist's needs, in replacing the lost parent or caregiver or brother or sister or supply from years ago that they always return to. So that's something that they have to contend with, and that makes them maneuver differently. And we're going to get into how the narcissist deals with these situations in a few minutes. Number 4, an effect on the narcissist aging is the loss of the future faking. You know, when the narcissist is younger, they can regale new sources of supply, new partners with, well, I am studying for this, I am going to be this, I'm actually going to be an astronaut. You know, when the narcissist hits whatever you like to call middle age or old age, and they're saying, well, I'm going to be an astronaut, you kind of go, yeah, right. Good for you. So it's kind of not as easy for them to future fake people with, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, and I'm heading towards great things, great things. Another, number 5, another loss for them in aging is if they've left their job, if they've gotten to retirement age, or perhaps their job was of a physical nature, perhaps they were a gym instructor, the loss of that vein of supply hits a narcissist. If they were the type of narcissist that would come home, be a grumpy grouch, be quite abusive in the home, but then go out and be Mr. or Mrs. Charming in the office or the workplace and get a lot of supply in their workplace, a lot of narcissists will have different areas where they get their main meal, basically. So if their main meal was outside the home, that's going to have a huge effect. And you will often find when people have been married long term, if the partner who's the narcissist stops working, it is impossible for their at-home partner to maintain the relationship going forward. They either will leave the situation even after 30 or 40 years because they're now stuck with this abominable person in the home 24/7, complaining and giving out and missing the main source of supply that they actually got in the office prior to this. And the last thing I have down for effects of aging on a narcissist, and please, you leave what you've observed. There are so many effects on aging. I'm just trying to cover the main effects. The loss of their prowess, the loss of their ability to attract via sex. They may not be able to have sex anymore. The loss of their people admiring them. Perhaps they were great, sports people. People gave them narcissistic supply through that, and they're no longer able to obtain the extra dollops of narcissistic supply with their physical prowess. And for them, if they've always been, say, this, big guy or this woman who's really good at something physical, like a talent, even an artist or a body weight lifter or whatever you'd like to call it, and suddenly they can't lift that weight anymore, they can't face that because that takes away from their sense of being the best, omnipotent, and their narcissism is kind of going, oh, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? So they tend to focus on something else. We're going to get into now how they combat the effects of aging in a few minutes. But they have to tweak and change things, just like a normal person has to tweak and change things with the aging process, except the narcissist does it in a different way, in a more manipulative way, in the way they focus on things. So I've headed up this section, old pony, new tricks. You can't teach an old pony new tricks. And whereas that is a very true saying, it is even more true with a narcissist, except that this pony knows all the tricks and doesn't need to learn any new tricks. This pony just hones down on the tricks they already know, and they have got such a wide variety of manipulations. They tweak. This is how they deal with the aging process, and in still getting the same amount of supply, they tweak their tricks to suit the situation. So in essence, they become more creepy, more tricky, more underhand, more vile, more cruel, more sadistic in order to get their needs met. So they just change their manipulations. The first thing they do is, as they're getting older, and there's different stages of aging. I suppose I'm talking about when the narcissist gets past middle age, they're kind of coming up to the old age stage. And again, different people have different ideas on this. Just let's say that middle age might go from, oh no, I better not say it because there's too many comments about, oh, I'm not middle age, whatever. Okay, we leave it wide out in the open and just say, when the narcissist is getting to feeling that they're getting to the old age stage, they will preempt that by really honing down on a continual supply. So they may go back to what would have been termed as their transitional supply, someone who's always there for them, someone who has in the past really put out as, in a kind of a doormatty way, like they've become very servile to the narcissist, or they really believe in the narcissist. They can't see through the narcissist. They don't know that narcissists exist, and they believe in the fake persona and still believe that the narcissist can be saved and that they're the ones to do it. So the narcissist will seek out that person in their life. If they haven't found that person yet, or if that person has passed on, they will really, really search for someone who's going to be grateful enough to have the narcissist in their life to really put out for the narcissist. So basically they're looking for a housekeeper, a cleaner. Great if you can financially, support them. They're looking for someone who's going to be comprehensive in all areas of life in order to ease the narcissist's existence, so that the narcissist is well fed, well dressed, well looked after, doesn't have to pay for all these services, and is then in a better position to go out and use their well-ironed, well-dressed, clothes, their well-groomed appearance. They can spend more time on those things, and they can spend more time out of the home getting the supply that they would have found easier to get before, but that they have more time and energy available to get the maximum amount of supply, combating the effects of old age, energy, their physical abilities, and even financial abilities. So I hope that makes sense. So they, people are often kind of a little bit astounded as to, oh my goodness, so-and-so, Fred or Betty, and sorry if you're called Fred or Betty, has gone back to, I never thought they'd go back to her or to him. Wow. And they seem happy, they seem happy with them. Never thought after all this length of time they go back to them, and yet they do. And then the next scenario is, gosh, I never thought that, let's take somebody else's name, John or Joe or whatever, has gone back to or has found this person who, gosh, they don't seem suited. It's not who I would have expected them to be with. But this narcissist has identified a crisis and has identified that their needs have changed, and they're going to target a person to fulfill those needs. So they'll be seeking that person out. So that's what happens in that effect to combat the aging with the narcissist. Now, number 2 is actually a really, really big thing narcissists do at this stage in life. They triangulate people. We know that narcissists always use triangulation as part of their manipulations, but they really hone down on triangulating people here because it's one of the best, most efficient, most comprehensively productive manipulations that a narcissist can run, where they sit back and they push two people against each other by speaking to one person and speaking to the other person and saying that person has spoken about you, and to that person has spoken about you, and combating, making people fight for the narcissist's attention, or telling people lies about what the other person has done, or saying, You know, this person has really, really helped me. But do you know what the other person did? They did something really terrible to me, and they get people to put out for them more and go against each other. And they cause a lot of drama by doing this. And they often do this particular manipulation with children. Parental narcissists will often do this in order to get the children fighting amongst themselves, and one child, doing more for the narcissist. And they'll often triangulate with money in these situations, and they'll often triangulate a possible inheritance with these situations. If they have the wherewithal to use those particular tools in the triangulation process, they sure will do it. The next thing they will use is they'll use the opportunistic narcissist, will use the fact that they're an older senior person. They'll use the fact that they have health issues to blindside people to the reality of the nastiness of their character. They will morph into the sweet old guy and the lovely old gal, and my goodness, you really would just love to hug them and help them. They're so lovely. They seem so feeble and frail, yet this is a monster in a new disguise. And literally, if you go to help, say, one of these people across the road, as you put your arm around them to help them across the road, they'll have their hand in your pocket, taking your wallet out. I'm sorry for laughing. It's a dreadful situation, but this is what they do. This is the nature of a narcissist. It is as simple as that. They don't change, they get worse. They will use, they're so opportunistic, they will use their newfound old age or their newfound ill health to manipulate people. Unbelievable. Oftentimes the aging narcissist they're all encompassing, so they really like drama. Because they're not maybe out there in the world like they used to be, they have to use a smaller pool of people. And within that small pool of people that say would have got on absolutely fantastic, they will come before the narcissist, they will come into that pool of people and be such a poisonous influence by manipulating situations, by telling lies on people, by withholding information, by omitting things. It's literally their drama. It's literally orchestrated by them. It's like the next series on Netflix. The narcissists in the middle being director and producer of the whole show and watching and feeling fantastic because they know they're causing this outpouring of emotions, manipulations, people going against each other, people coming to the narcissist. And this is another thing that the aging narcissist will do. They'll try and engage your family in situations. So if they're trying to say hoover you, they'll try and do it via your family and bring as many people in, because they're really good at this stage at knowing how to subtly, undercover, manipulate people better than they would have done in the past. They have to make a more concentrated effort to think things through. Not all narcissists have the capability to do this, and that's why you'll see, bringing me on to the next point, a lot of narcissists who aren't capable of this type of manipulation, and some that are, will go into their addictions more and more and more and more to numb the lack of narcissistic supply and to enter into the stage of magical thinking where the addiction tells them they're wonderful, everything's great, and they feel empowered when they're in their addiction. So you'll see this happening, sadly, to a lot of narcissists in old age. Another thing you'll find is they will go into new groups, the groups for seniors, and they will cause ructions in those groups. They will disturb, distort, and use those groups, and again, as another forum for their activities. They will particularly engage in gossip. They will be great, awful, malign gossips and cause a lot of problems because of their gossiping, particularly if they engage in new groups that are unfamiliar with the character underlying the sweet old gal or the sweet old guy. This is another one to watch out for. And again, I do not wish to knock any of these beautiful, wonderful adults who coach younger people in sports and in all areas of life. But narcissists, if they are unable to attract as partners younger people, and they will try and go younger and younger and younger if they can attract a younger person. You'll often find narcissists with partners that are 20 years younger than them in later life, really as using that person and the way they look to enhance the narcissist themselves. But I digress. Narcissists will often go to younger groups of people to be a coach or to be a teacher, so that they feel enhanced by the attention of the younger people. And they will disgracefully manipulate those younger minds, those innocent minds. Even if it's young adults with an elderly narcissist, they know how people tick. And a lot of young people do not know that narcissists exist with narcissistic personality disorder. So they're easier to manipulate, and they have the kind of respect, or they look to the older person as, they give them certain characteristics because of the fact that they're older and that they're an educator, etc. And the narcissist manipulates this and uses the trust that the younger people would have in them and gets narcissistic supply out of that, which is horrible. The other thing that they will go into, and this is the last one I have written down, is unfortunately they will go heavily into pornography. I was going to say if they're a male narcissist, but some female narcissists will also do this and satisfy themselves in a kind of a pretty horrible way. So that's just a brief outline of what a narcissist will do, but they get a lot more manipulative. They get a lot more subtle and clever at how they manipulate people. They hone down on the supply that they have in their family, if they still have supply in family, and will often go back to older partners. And the main thing I would say about an aging narcissist is they want to set themselves up so that they have a servant who is going to bring them to hospital appointments, do their laundry, really look after them well. They're just looking after their own needs like they've always done, but they'll do it in a usurping way, and a way that is taking by deceitful means your energy, your finances, your services, your everything. They don't change, they get worse, they just get better at it. So if you feel yourself falling under the spell of a familial narcissist, or there's someone who you had a relationship with who is knocking on your door at this stage, and you're well set up in your own house, you have your pension, you're getting along nicely, your life is going great, don't be so quick to invite one of these people back in without some pretty thorough thinking and information gathering. That's all I have to say for today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Again, leave comments. It really helps other people in our community. Please don't forget to give the thumbs up if you found this podcast of any value. And of course, I would love you to subscribe and be part of the community, and sharing again if you find that you know someone who's being abused by an elderly narcissist. Bye for now. See you again soon.